Let's go!
Welcome back to another week of Pace Pals. We have a great episode in store for you. A new guest to the show, Eleesuh. Eleesuh, how are you doing?
I'm doing so good being with you guys. Hello, what's up? How are you, Geo, Zeus?
I'm great. I'm living the dream. Can't wait to talk a little Mario, talk a little music, talk about pace. It's gonna be a pretty great interview, I think. Zeus, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good as well. I'm also excited for this interview. I think Eleesuh has so much knowledge to impart on our viewers across a bunch of different things, and who knows where this is going to go. There's a lot of things we could cover.
Just
I
a little guy, man. Just a little guy.
Not just a little guy. In fact, see, you're selling yourself short. Okay. You have runs completed across 4 categories. You still need the 120. We'll get to that later. I have questions about that. But you have a 1-star run completed in 820, 143rd place, a 0-star run completed, which is honestly the most impressive, 810 and 83rd place. And then your two, probably your crown jewels, I'd say, your 16-star and 1555. You were the first woman to 15, I believe. And then your 70-star, 4913, 98th place. You're in the top 100 and the women's world record. So not just a little guy. Also, you've been around the community for what, 10 years now?
Yeah. Do I look like it's 10 years? It's been 10 years. Can you tell? Can you tell by my face? Did I age well on Twitch?
I don't know if that happened for you, Zeus, but the video did freeze when you were saying that.
Wait, what?
Oh, her video froze a little when she was saying that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what the viewers think. No, but it was. You do not look like you've been around for 10 years. You look like you are brand new to the community, but you're a legend, and you've done it pretty much all except for 120. And you're also a staple to the commentating portion of the community. You've commentated at several paces now. Let's start there. How did you get your start in commentating?
For GSA or in general? Because obviously in general it just happens. I feel like in the community people, you get to make your friends and contacts, and at some point someone's gonna reach out, and if you're like decent at the game, or you seem to have a lot of knowledge, then people would walk up to you and be like, hey, do you want to commentate for my tournament? And I'm always down. I love talking, I love commentating, and I love Mario sometimes. Every time I don't have to play myself, loving the game. And yeah, just always really enjoyed it. And at some point I was like, maybe I should reach out to Speedrun, to the GSA people, and yeah, get my foot in the door. And yeah, pretty much just reached out, was like, hey, I noticed that there's not really women in your commentary um team for Super Mario 64. I would love to cover that, and to be there and to do it. And yeah, that's how I got to do GSA comms, by reaching out and asking
I
very
love it.
politely.
I feel like it's even more impressive. Obviously, German is your first language. You're doing all your comms and this interview in English. Were you ever nervous about that? I would be so nervous to do something like that in Spanish. There's no, like, it would definitely keep me from doing it.
It's by by now I feel like I spoke so much English, and I started streaming in English, obviously, because also you just like reach more people. Never really liked the German community, because it's when you translate a game that you always watched. When I got like to start watching speedruns of Mario, I always like got used to the sound of like 70 stars, 16 stars. If you translate that now, it sounds cringe to me. So I've never liked watching German speedrunners, at least not like hearing the German. It just like did not fit for me to the game that I knew from like people that were streaming it in English. Um and also in Germany, you get taught English from third grade on. So obviously, I've been learning it for a while. When I started streaming, I felt super uncomfortable. Just the thought of speaking to people in a language that is mine freaked me out. But I think that also was like the good thing of getting started, and I sat there on like 5 or 6 people, and it's just like and it was like obviously the people that watch you first are usually or very often your friends or people that you have been talking to on Twitch. So at some point I felt like, man, you talk to these people every day. It's not any different from typing it, and you can only like improve your accent. Or and that was like what scared me, is like I don't want to sound German. I don't want to be like sitting there and be like, so now we're getting star C. That's just like not what I wanted to do. So I also felt like that is a good way of improving my accent. Um and I've been streaming for so long, man, that doing GSA comms felt kind of natural now. Like speaking English feels a lot more natural. I would probably say like 60/40. German is like 60% of feeling, but it's like almost the same percentage of comfy level, if that makes sense. It just, yeah, doesn't really make a difference what English language it is.
So what?
And there's one thing. There's one thing that happened during live comms at Pace in Laurel, Maryland, where it was, what was it? I think it was the word uh anonymous. Is that what it is? Because
Yeah.
yeah, and I think because I read it on the, every time there comes a donation in and it's like
Yeah.
an anonymous, I said it so fast that I always said Anomynous with an M, Anonymous. And people eventually were in chat like, I love how Elisa says Anomynous. And I was like, oh my god, that's crazy that I did that. I think these are the only things that ever felt like, oh, maybe this is not the language that I should be speaking right now.
That's
Yeah,
like a tiny, that's like such a small difference there. Like M and N basically sound like the same thing, you know?
No.
it was crazy to me at that moment that someone like heard it, actually like noticed that I was saying Anonymous. But now you can hear it too. It's like pretty obvious once you notice.
That's so. Do you still say Anomynous? I think you
I
should.
no, my anxiety pushes me to saying Anonymous.
And all it
Not
took was
great.
one time. All it took was one time for Twitch chat to be Twitch chat, and Elisa's like, never again.
One
Ain't no
dose of
way.
public humiliation.
Like, okay, I'm dropping out. Thanks for having me, GSA. See you in the next life. Yeah, no, it was not that bad, but in that moment, I was like, got a lot to learn, Elisa.
So what
But yeah.
was the first tournament you ever commentated? Just like a community-wide tournament. And did you kind of share like those similar feelings going into that one? I'm not sure how long ago it was.
Yes, I'm like fucking 40. I'm not 40. I'm not 40. I'm not 40.
Not 40.
But in Twitch years, I might be 40. And I don't remember what my first tournament was I commentated on. Really, no idea.
Oh wow, it was that long ago then.
Yeah, it's really been a while.
Really emphasizing her age there, Jeez.
Twitch tenure. Long ago on Twitch tenure purely.
Damn.
No ageism here, all right?
Just brutally, just bodying our guest. That's super cool.
Yeah, I really don't remember. I know that I commentated for Illustrious, of course.
Mhm.
You were hosting several tournaments before. What else was there? I know BDF had a tournament. They're always like, I'm not sure if I ever commentated on BDF's tournament, but I got to do BDF set up like a teaching session. I don't know what the concept was or what it was called again, but it was pretty much like a format where you could teach. You can choose a strat and show it to the people and explain it. You got 5 minutes to do it, and that's what I did.
That's a really cool
And
concept.
it was really fun. I remember teaching Hanoji moving rats. Like not the the one that most runners do is the Usamune
Mhm.
strat. where you approach it from like the middle of a flippers, and the other one is like coming from the left. You're doing like the moving flippies kind of movement, but you end up going from very far left to very far right. And that was the one that I was teaching. I don't remember any other than that because my brain is not. I don't have like a long-term memory. It's just not. It's not. Everything's gone. I don't even remember what I ate yesterday. So
Yeah, how could you possibly remember 10 years ago?
yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I was about to ask what Zia's second. I think there was a second part of the question, but I also already forgot. Sorry.
We're seeing it live in action right now. That's crazy. It was
It's
mostly
almost 3 a.m. Come on, please.
okay. That's fair. That's fair. Time zone difference. It's
okay,
currently
time zone
8:50
difference, but like
PM.
normal schedule. I mean, this is like your normal like 9 p.m. You live on Eastern hours, basically. Your schedule's chaotic. It stresses me out.
It is. It's stressing me out too. Not gonna lie, it's really not great. But it is so many people that you want to like talk to, and so many
True.
friends from the U.S. You gotta like make it happen somehow.
True.
I'm taking one for the team here. I'm not the problem. I'm the solution.
True.
Amen. I guess the second part of the question was mostly just like talking about like the language barrier and everything. It was mostly just if you did remember what your first like commentary appearances were, if you kind of shared those same feelings that you kind of mentioned with going into GSA, like being like afraid to speak a second language, just in front of that many people.
I don't. I think at the point where I started like commentating for the first time, or where I did my first commentary, I was already like feeling pretty comfortable with speaking English in a public setting or whatever you want to call it. So I don't think I felt any different from what we're doing right now or from what I've been doing today.
Right on.
What have you learned, and how has your commentary evolved over the course of like when you started to now, like you're doing GSA live events at pace? Like how have you improved at that? And what advice do you have for people who want to get better?
So I think I remember when I did comms for GSA for the first time, I was hella nervous because now it's not a tournament in front of like 50, 100, maybe 200 people. And I know we get to talk about this later. You already told me, but for those of you who don't know, I'm a musician and I go on stages and I talk a lot, so I don't really like get what's it called, like
Stage fright?
what is that what it's called?
That's like, yeah,
like,
nerves in front of like people
Yeah.
or being like, you know, the center of attention in front of an audience.
Yeah, I don't have that usually, but for GSA it was different because you know when like Speedrun is a huge channel, does not only cover like Super Mario but all the other speedruns, obviously. And I knew it was gonna be on the front page. I knew it was gonna be on recommended. I knew people like there's like 1,000 or even like thousands of people watching, and if I have up, then I have up. So and I think my biggest anxiety during my first GSA comms was you cannot curse. You cannot use swear words. You cannot say the F word. See, I learned. I was like, you cannot say anything of the words, any of the words that you usually would say every 2 seconds. You cannot do that. And then there's like this, and this is something that you like kind of have to learn separately because first, of course, as a German, you learn the actual swear words, and then you gotta learn the, you know, like the words for the swear words,
Yep.
like frick or flip or darn or oh my goodness instead of you know like um and I think that freaked me out a lot. You got to do a bunch of shout outs. Yes, you also know that. You also commentate. You got to do a lot of shout outs. about a thing that is really great, like it's a good cause, but not coming from that place, or like from the States, I don't really know about the US system. I don't know how things work. And then it feels like very scary to me to speak about things that I actually like can't, like can't talk about, because I never experienced any of this. Because the educational system in Germany is so different from what it's like in like the US. So usually what I do is like always communicate that with the side comms that I have, and I'm like, hey, I don't feel comfortable with that. That's something that I had to learn, that it's okay to be like, hey, I'm German, so maybe you can help me out here. Um and that people will be understanding when it comes to that. But yeah, that was like a little scary at first, knowing that I have to do all these shout outs, and I gotta like, you gotta keep so much in focus. You want to like keep an eye on things that are happening on screen. You want to keep an eye on like the leaderboard, and then you maybe like, you don't want to miss a donation when someone's deciding to donate money for a good cause. Of course you want to like tell them and do the shout out. And it's just like, oh my god, what if I forget something? What if I like, what if this is too overwhelming? So I was so nervous at the beginning on my first match. I think I almost threw up, and then I was like anxious for 2 minutes going into comms. And I remember, this is crazy, I remember, I think it was the very first um weekend I did GSA comms. It's always like 2 days, and if you get lucky you get shifts on both days. So did I, and the first day was great, and the second day I should open, or it was like the first weekend went fine. That what it was. The first weekend went fine, and the second weekend I was supposed to open the event with Wes Dogg, and Wes Dogg freaking overslept, and now I had to open this event. And not only when you open the event, you want to shout out everything that is happening during the event. You want to shout out the good cause. You want to shout out the organization. You want to update everyone on the leaderboard and what its current state is. And I was like freaking out. I was like, so I think I was like, hi everyone, my name's Eleesuh. Wes Dogg overslept. He's supposed to be with me right now.
Right under the bus.
Yeah, you didn't hesitate at all.
It was terrible. It was so awful. But still alive. I made it.
Are you beefing with Wes Dogg now?
Sorry?
Are you beefing with Wes Dogg now?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I was hoping
No,
to say
no.
yes. This is the kind of drama we needed.
Guy owes me still.
We got to get you and Wes Dogg on the show. We got to. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, we did
Duke it
that.
out.
We did that. We did that before, and it was on Mother's Day, if I remember correctly.
Sure, why not?
And Wes Dogg did like Wes Dogg is a funny guy. He likes to mess around. He likes to shout out some, like, he's just like very entertaining, and he's like, sometimes with and I say that with all my love, Wes Dogg, sometimes you don't think. And it was like, we're gonna call your moms, and we're gonna drop your numbers in chat. And someone did. Someone dropped the number, the actual working number of their mom in chat. We had to get it like deleted immediately. But before we got it deleted, Wes Dogg called the mom, and during GSA comms, called and was like, this is Wes Dogg, this is this and that event where it like at pace, your son wants to wish you happy Mother's Day and says he loves you, and hung up. And it was crazy. And after that the number got deleted.
Wait, that's
thank
kind of
God.
awesome. I love that.
It was crazy. It's always a wild calm situation with Wes. I can say that.
Wes, you
That's
killed
so
that.
amazing.
That's an all-time move. Wes, I can't believe you didn't talk about that. That's ridiculous. We got to get both of you on the show at the same time. We got to resolve this beef. We got to rehash it and get the drama up, and then we can resolve it.
I'm down.
Perfect.
Let's do it.
So I want to shift gears a little bit. We kind of talked a little about pace. But moving on from your commentary, like this whole podcast was born around pace. So I do want to ask you some pace related questions. Obviously, you know, where we are now, we just had the qualifiers. We have our 7 qualifiers. That's Cheese, Ouija, Beast, Callie, Blue Bob, Punke, and Gothic. What are your kind of predictions for like the top 3, let's say? Who do you think is going to go first, second, third of that group when we get to the grand finals in June?
Hard to tell. It's hard to tell because from what we saw, Beast Assassin is improving very fast and is playing very well.
He just needed
rising like has been is a rising star, if you want to say so, because like improving in 120 in that amount, like in that short amount of time, is insanely impressive. And I would think that they are practicing a lot. They are putting the work in. Everyone does. Every single person of these like runners, every single runner that we got on the leaderboard and gonna see at pace is really putting the work in. And from what we saw in the past, it's very likely to see. It would not be a surprise if Ouija got first place, because we know Ouija went into Rainbow Ride with like a very low 135 best possible time not too long ago, and then got a 136.21, and that's a big big announcement. Like that's just like not it's not easy to beat. Well, at pace though, they're not gonna run like against bare PBs, right? But then we get Ouija, and Ouija calls it a sweet little D-Rush when he gets another 136 during the pace qualifiers. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Ouija doing something similar during the pace event. Blue Bob is also putting a lot of work in, and tends to surprise when you least expect it. Like boy leaves for a year, comes back, PBs, gets 139, like it's a
comeback kid. He's a comeback kid.
Player of the year.
Comeback player of the year.
a crazy comeback. And I think if he's putting the work in and continues to grind, and I would think that they're like all trying to prepare themselves as best as possible to perform in the best way at pace. So I could see Bob taking over like third, maybe even second. I would think that. We got Cheese, of course, also very consistent runner, almost got a huge PB the other day. And it's so hard to tell, really. Like, it's so hard. They are all like there for a reason. They qualified for a reason, and anything could happen. It would not be the first time we're getting surprised by a crazy run we all did not think it was going to happen. And all you need is like, they have a skill. All they need is a little bit of luck. We know 120 is a lot of RNG too. It's like not only coins but enemies and whatnot. You gotta, there's so much to keep in mind, that sometimes all it takes is a little bit of luck, because their best possible times for some of best, they're all like around 135, 136. They could potentially get the time that they have sent, what it says it is. Like the sum of best does not lie. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that there are people that are a little more likely, or like where it's like a little more expectable for them to take first, second, third, but every single runner could potentially get on the top 3. Yeah.
I love the call on Blue Bob. This is we're a pro Blue Bob podcast. We were the first people to say comeback kid. So, but I did notice you didn't mention, and I can say this now, our boy Gothic season. We did just interview him yesterday. Not a Gothic hater and officially converted into pro Gothic.
Oh no, I love Gothic. Gothic helped me. This is how long we've been around. Gothic came into my chat when I was grinding for a sub 1 hour back then, like 9 years ago, and he was like,
Damn.
"You gotta stop resetting." Like, you gotta stop resetting. This is why I preach it now today. I'm like, when I tell you don't reset, it's not necessary. It's because I got told that I don't have to, and I learned my lesson. And I noticed that, especially in the beginning, when you're starting to run the game, or you're like trying to slowly work your way towards the sub 1 hour, then you don't know how to predict. You don't freaking know if how much time you could lose. Your sum of best, your gold splits are not actually like that precise. They are not this accurate. They can change with every run you're doing, and it's so important to build consistency in the first place. This was not the question, by the way. So Gothic has been there for a long time. Helped me. So of course, yeah, I'm pro Gothic season, hell yeah. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Hell yeah. Gothic's getting on the
Love it.
podium. I've changed my tune. Gothic convinced me talking to him. But actually, you know what? We can't do that because he said he likes to have the motivation. He likes to be the underdog to prove people wrong. So I can't change my tune now. So I'm back. I'm back on putting Gothic 7th, but it's only to help Gothic this time. It's different.
Love that.
It's for his benefit.
It's
Don't
for his
worry
own good.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I see that.
Is there anyone else in the top 7 besides like the objective, like, okay, these are the most likely? Is there anyone else that you're maybe looking at? I mean, you kind of alluded to like everybody's going to be putting in that work, and even Gio mentioned like everybody's kind of just like playing really well at the right time, like everyone's getting hot at the right time.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else that you're maybe like, well, you know, maybe they could work their way up there out of that top 7?
Well, again, we you know, it's Beast Assassin, one of my like probably like biggest guesses to think that they could like really achieve more than is seen on the, or is shown on the splits, on the sum of best or whatever. I really can't point my finger at like any specific one because I really truly believe that they are all capable of doing, because again, they all have like a very similar sum of best, and they all have been putting so much work into the grind that I truly believe every single one of the runners that qualified can make it very far in this tournament setting.
Shifting away from we've talked about the top 7 now. Of the people who didn't qualify and the ones who were closest this year, we had Denner.
Whatever.
Do whatever.
Do whatever.
I mean,
I know that do whatever does not really like enjoy 120 as much as 70, for example. But do whatever has a you know how every runner has their own little like style of speedrunning the game, and do whatever has a really unique style. And I'm Team Denner. It's a German. It's
True.
Denner. It's all you got to tell me is that it's Denner, unique, sweet, a friend of mine, German, Denner.
I mean, I love that pick. I said during our final recap, I was like, I feel like Denner is on the up and up. He's probably not happy with his performance. He had one bad qualifier, but without that bad qualifier, like if he had performed closer to the level in the other two, he would have been right in the mix trying to qualify. And I feel like he has some sort of mental block with 120 because obviously he's goated at the game. He's so absurdly good. And if you watch him play 70, it's just so apparent. Watch him 122. He just needs to like be able to put it all together and get past whatever mental block is there. I already picked it. I think we said it jokingly last time, but we said congrats Denner for qualifying
Yeah.
in next year's pace. And I stand by that take.
Yeah, because it's definitely possible. I feel like a lot of really comes with like the mindset you're playing with, and there's a lot of pressure going on too, right? When you're starting to qualify and you really want to make it, because there's like a lot on the table. They pay for your whole trip, and especially when you're coming like not from like a neighbor bordering state, but from Germany, it's a lot more money. And of course you want to make sure that that trip is covered, that all the expenses are covered. But yeah, so there's like a lot more. I wouldn't say a lot more, but there's definitely like this a lot more pressure going on. The more you think about what the result or the reward out of this could be. And not to say the least, like Denner is not a 120 runner, so competing with all the 120 runners, that main 120, that I would think at least would add a lot of pressure too, because on the inside, Cheese only does 120, Puncation only does 120. I don't know, Liam didn't qualify, but you know, like all these other contestants or possible opponents, I want to say, are maining 120. Denner does not, so that adds a lot more pressure. And so I think getting as far or as like low on the leaderboard as Denner did is a huge achievement, because guy doesn't do it all the time. He's not running 120 for 6 hours, and he's putting in the grind now. So I know that there is some sort of like preparing going on for future events. I'm pretty sure he definitely wants to step up the game on 120. So yeah, Denner.
I love it. I love the pick. Like I said, I also, there's something about like, there's certain players that are super nostalgic for me to see them like go on a tear, like seeing Simply killing it right now. And like he's had two 137s now. He's had so many pacers over the last few weeks. Like it's so fun to see him return to form and be like very competitive on the scene. Denner's like the same kind of thing for me, where it's like they were like truly the GOATs, the greatest that existed when I started watching the game in 2020. Simply was the 120 record holder. Denner had held the 70-star record for I don't know how long, and he continued to hold it until like 2022 or whatever. Like he's so absurdly good. So it's like so fun to see him be like at the top, performing, you know, competing with the best of the best, and like right there. And it's just like, this is what it's supposed to be. This is how Mario should be. It feels like all is right in the world when Denner's kicking ass.
Definitely. I mean, you saw it the past. If you follow Simply, if you try to, you know, like keep up with the streams, you can see it. Like it was for a month or two. I don't want to like, I have a bad feeling of like time, but I think it was like a month or two. You went to Simply, and it was like labbing THI, labbing SSL, labbing whatever. Like just really analyzing every single star there is and grinding it till it's on point, till it sits, till it's locked in. Zia's taught me that.
True.
So yeah, no surprise that he's been popping off lately. That's just like the result of really working for it and towards a better time. That's what has been happening, and that's great. Loving it.
It's really interesting because there's just been like such an influx of really, really good 120 runners that have kind of just burst out on the scene, like Beeves, Sab Sander, JQ just got the 139. You know, all these people are on the up and up. And, you know, Simply, obviously the world record holder at one time. I feel like with all these new runners kind of improving all at once, it's kind of like easy to lose sight of the fact that like, oh wait, Simply's still like really fucking good at Mario.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
He's still very good, and people are like, oh my god, like almost surprised by like Simply popping off like this. And it's like, are you sure? Because like I don't think he was ever bad at the game. He's just like, the PBs haven't been coming that often. It happens when you're at that level, but I feel like it is very easy to lose sight of the fact that like, oh yeah, these people are still like very good at Mario. when
This
those
might
kind
be a
of.
hot take. Oh, sorry.
I was just
Sorry.
gonna say it's easy to lose sight when like those low periods hit, but like
Mhm.
obviously they're still very good at the game.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And might I don't think it's a hot take. Maybe it's a hot take. I don't fucking know.
We'll let you know how
But
hot it is. We'll give you a temperature check.
so after you could see it on Twitter, after Ouija proved what is possible by getting that run that I was mentioning earlier, the low 135 into Rainbow Ride, they all got like a a reminder that there's so much more to get. There's so much more possible. And I don't want to say like a reality check, but maybe it is. Maybe it was like these people that we're talking about, like, right? Like Puncation, Denner, Cheese, Simply. They've been around for years and years now. And like I think most of them started in 2015, which is like around that time where I started playing too. I think I started in 2014. And so they have been around as long as I've been around. And you kind of get to you're like trapped in a rut maybe at some point, and you're just like you don't really think about improving. You're just like you're not sitting down anymore. You one up the top players. You don't really. Of course they're labbing. Of course they're running. Of course they. But or when something like did not go well in that one run, you maybe get your ever drive and practice it for a little more again. But it's not that analyzing mentality that Suigi, you can see it. Like they sit there and they practice for hours and hours and hours. They know they're good. They're chop runners, but they still do it. And that was for a lot of runners in my perception, um, not as obvious to others, not as obvious to Cheese, and maybe they were like just like I said, trapped in a rut, and they were just doing runs day after day and tried to get like better because the best possible times that they could be better, but it did not tell them how much better they could be. But Ouija went and showed them, so everyone was like, damn. It also felt like maybe it was like a kind of how do I say it, like a little um intimidating, but it was motivating as well at the same time. It was like holy shit, but also holy shit. It was you could tell that these people caught the fire again. They knew now we gotta like step up the game. We're not that, you know, we're not bad. We can still keep up. That's not like we're also great, and it is possible, so why shouldn't it be possible for me too? If I put in the amount of effort and work and grind, then I can be there too. And I feel like they all, like got the spark back, brought by Ouija. That's my hot take. That's my 2 cents on this.
I agree with no, I 100% agree with that. I think that was absolutely what they needed. And
Yeah.
for like a combination of seeing how Suigi and Ouija approach the game in like this hyper analytical way, where like every single piece of movement, every frame is like accounted for when they're doing X camps, and then when they're doing stage RTAs, and then the whole streak practice technique where like you have to get below a certain time so many, times in a row, like 10 times in a row, whatever it is. Like it's a whole different approach to focusing on the game, and literally every frame matters to them. I mean, Ouija like is the best. Suigi too. They're both a great example of that. But like Ouija will reset over losing. It feels like this is a hyper, exaggeration, but like it feels like he'll lose like 2 frames in like lobby, and then he's like, nope, reset, can't do the run. And it's like you probably could have been okay, but like it takes that kind of
Yeah.
like crazy mentality to be like so perfectionist about it, and you need that to eventually get a run that's a 136.21, or like in Suigi's case the 14:35.
Yeah.
And then also I think to your point, like, and I would love to ask Simply come on the fucking pod, but I'd love to ask him like like, he was number 1 in the world, and then he was number 2 when Batora, I can't remember who Cheese took his world record, and then Batora beat Cheese. And like slowly he kind of fell down the leaderboard a little, and he got to the point where I think he was still top 10, I think. But like, was that kind of like a kick in the butt to be like, hey, like if all these people are doing it, I know I can do it. I was at that level before. They're not passing me by. I'm just not like labbing the way I need to or something, to kind of send him on this new arc of just like grinding, working it out, analyzing everything, and now just he's absolutely coming out guns blazing, kicking ass.
Oh yeah, no, I would think that too. That's just like something that he needed to really, catch fire again and just like grind. It wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. Um, but yeah, when you were talking about Suigi, it's actually funny because you were like, "Oh, they're hyper analyzing." It was crazy. I was in Suigi's chat the other day, and he was like, right now he's really pretty much doing streaks of stars and stage RTAs prep for 120, and he was sitting there and he gets breezes like, let's say 7 out of 10 tries. He's just like nailing it. Um, so breezeless is a trick that says like 2 seconds. That's not a little amount for a pro runner. They want to have these 2 seconds, but in return, if you miss it, then on the other end, if you miss it, then you lose 7 seconds. So you want to really make sure that that trick sits, and it did not for him because it was not 10 out of 10. So and Suigi said there was like, I wish there was like an angle that I could follow. Pretty much what he said. Like, don't quote me on that, but like from the, it's like, I wish there was like a scientific angle that I can follow, like a number of an angle. You know how they have like the memory settings, and you can see like how the angle is according to the axis. And he was like, I want to have a number that I can follow and know what fucking angle I have to get so it works every time. And like, I don't even have that. Like, I don't even think like that. I could never be like, I want to have this number that works, because in the game, you can double check on memory, on missed timers, on whatnot. You cannot. So you will never be like, so they're grinding it down, and if there is an angle they can follow, they are mesmerizing it till it sits, till it's there, even without seeing what memory would tell you what it is. Just crazy. Like, that kind of mentality is what brought them where they are. Like, to the 14, to the 136, low mid 136. That's just what it is.
Once the people break out the number, the angle numbers, I'm like, yeah, we're not in the same league. I don't do that shit. Are you kidding me? This is way out of my skill set. I don't know what you're doing, bro. I bet Suigi like sees like in his eyes as he's playing. If it's not on the screen, like he sees it. He like could give you the precise angle that it is. I'm like, bro, I don't even put that on the screen. That's not for me.
I can see why it's helpful, like for like for getting it down at first. For carpetless, it's something that people do at the beginning to learn it and get it down. But yeah, like I said, to me in the real game and the real run, you can check. So I don't like, I kind of get it, but also I don't get it. It's like yeah, I see why you're doing this, so you can check, but also I don't get why you're doing this, because in the end you can't use it.
They just operate like a higher brain level than I could ever dream of operating on. Like I don't
It's
operate on a plane of existence.
It's the youngins.
It's the youngins.
The age advantage. It's gotta be.
Not for us old folk.
I'm 25 and I'm still looking at that and I'm like, oh my god, like I just can't even picture it. Like, I don't have the capacity for it, man. But
maybe if Suigi was like a mod for Speedrunner common had to retime, it would also just like entirely happen without the program. Just like
he just watched the run, and then at the end he'd be like, this is how many frames it was.
Yeah. What I would think, at least. To be confirmed.
Come on the pod, we'll ask you.
Exactly, Suigi, get on here. Putting like so much emphasis on just like the minute, almost things people wouldn't even think about kind of details. Like, has to have such a big advantage even when you're playing live outside of Usamune. Like, if you're setting up a trick like Breezeless, for example, you can look at it and be like, this isn't gonna work, I'm gonna bail. Like, you've just seen successes so many times that it's just like burned into your brain that you know what the failures look like before they even happen. Like it's gotta be some it's gotta be some like, I don't know if y'all see the Sherlock Holmes movie with Robert Downey Jr., but there's this whole sequence where like time slows down and he sees like the whole fight before it happens, so he knows what to do. It's like it's gotta be something like that.
That's
Like,
Suigi and
probably
Luigi.
what it is. Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that might be the case why it's so upsetting if it didn't, because you saw it happening.
Yeah.
Why is it?
It's so true. These
It's me
kids are
every time I
cracked.
run the game. I saw the 48 happening, but then it didn't happen, and it's crazy. It's insane. I don't get it.
It's playing tricks on you, Eleesuh. What gives?
Absolutely.
Hey, but the next one.
I'm done with that game. I'm gonna play fucking Kirby now.
Let's go. Kirby arc.
Absolutely, yeah. Count me in on the Kirby grind. Follow my Twitch.
Let's go.
Link in the description.
I think I never did a playthrough of a single Kirby game there is.
I think I only ever did Crystal Shards.
I think I did the one that was for the. Is that one for
64.
no? Is it there was a Switch one? What was that?
I never
That
played
was
that one.
Forgotten Lands. Are you talking about the one that like just came out?
No, wait. Is it, what does just came out mean?
Like in the last like couple years.
Yeah.
It came out.
Yeah. Then yes.
That was Kirby and the Forgotten
Just
Lands.
now sounds
Forgotten
like
Lands,
yesterday.
more like Forgotten Game. Am I right?
It was fun.
I played that all. It was really good. I just don't have time for other games because I'm busy playing this 30-year-old game most of the time.
Exactly.
True. It is actually crazy. I always feel like I don't play other games because I'm like, well, that's time I could spend playing Mario. Like I gotta get better.
There's
I gotta
some
grind
Mario
the
to
game.
play. I done The Last of Us 2. Spare me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You know, gotta get
Like-
the 15 again.
Yeah. Gotta get another. Gotta second, thirst, 15.
Yeah, second, first 15. That's right.
I feel like every speedrunner probably has like a moment where they start getting into it and they're like, they hear other speedrunners talk about like, oh, speedrunning is like ruined casual gaming for me.
Absolutely.
And they're like, oh no, that's not gonna be me. And then it's them.
It's so true.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I don't know if you can go into a game wanting to speedrun it and then be disappointed when you ruin it for yourself. Like, no, that was clear to happen. Like, if there's a
Yeah.
fast way to do it, you don't slow down. I wouldn't.
Yeah,
There-
I'm
there's
too
no
impatient.
If someone paid me actual money to play SM64 the intended way, I couldn't do it.
No.
And
No.
if it was $1 million, it would freak me out. I wouldn't even know how to at this point anymore.
Exactly.
That's the thing is I don't know how. Like it's too ingrained. Like how to do everything. It's just like too ingrained. You know.
Yeah,
Like you
Like, it
can't
would-
forget that.
it would make me so mad.
Yeah.
Imagine like just unlocking and like getting a cannon for Wild Blue.
Cannon full. Get out of here.
Wild.
I actually forgot the cannon was how you're supposed to get Wild Blue.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a crazy one.
They're great. Yeah.
Elise, I want to
Yeah.
change topic slightly again.
Mhm.
And I want to talk about you as the musician. You mentioned it before. You're a musician. You're on Spotify. You have albums out. Actually, you have 2 albums out. They're right there. Right there.
Alright.
There's one of them.
Yeah.
How long have you been making your own music? What's that journey been like? Give us the download.
Okay. So I'm gonna try to give you a quick wrap of what I've been doing. Okay, Okay, so I started rapping in 2011. I was 15, 16 around ish, and I'm also very very fucking bad at math, so I can either confirm or
I don't
tell
think
you
those numbers
that I
are
don't
right
fucking
because we're basically the same age, but we're gonna let it slide.
Thank you. So I was always in my little room and writing songs because I wanted to fucking be a musician so bad. You have no idea. So, but I'm a terrible singer. Well, not anymore. I am taking lessons, and that definitely pays off a little bit. But I'm not a Mariah Carey. I'm not a fucking Whitney Houston. I can like I can hit some notes, but that's it. Like it's enough to be like this rap singer-ish kind of thing, but I couldn't like fucking, belt out a song. Um so I was sitting there and was like, well, what could I do to make music but not sing? There's rap. I was never listening to rap. I didn't fucking know a single thing about rap. I was like, well, if that's the way we have to go, then we're gonna rap, apparently. So I started rapping. I listened to a bunch of German rappers. I had favorite rapper from Germany. Was called FR by the time, and was a huge inspiration. So I sat down, I rapped, and then like 2 years from like there, 2 years later, there was like a battle rap tournament happening. I have a tournament history, you can see it, and it was pretty much like what a tournament is for SM64. You have a bracket, you have a beat pool, and the concept was you have an opponent, you get to choose a beat from that beat pool that producers would like throw in their beats. You have 1 week to write a song, record a video, shoot a video, cut the video, mix the song, throw it out. I was not having any of that. I did not know where to start. So it was like this. That was me, but in my with my sweet 16, 17 years by then, just this, and it was like that, and rapping into my webcam like that, and uploaded it because I didn't have a video guy. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and someone saw it that was way bigger than me, but also in this tournament. Saw it, shared it on Facebook because Facebook was huge by that time, and I blew up overnight. And it was like I left the video with like 2K clicks back then on YouTube because the tournament itself was a big thing. So people of course like would watch it more than any song that I would have released before. And I went to bed. I woke up the next day and I sat on 80K. And the next day I was like sitting on 200K. And
Holy.
this is how it like started. People were going crazy over it was pretty much, it's like always a little sad. Nowadays we have a lot more women in like rap too. Um for you guys, it started a little earlier, like in the US. You already had like a lot of um female rappers representing Missy Elliott,
Hmm.
all of them back then. And for Germany, that was not the case. We did not have like all the rappers you knew before. The female rappers had like a bad reputation, which also of course has to do with the way women are being viewed. Um, but yeah, so it was just like never a thing, and a lot of women as well. It's also well comparable to SM64 and like gaming communities in general. Like some people just like also tried but did not have the confidence or self-esteem to like really put it out there and like open up and maybe get hurt. That could be. Um, but I never think about any of this. I'm a very impulsive person, so I never think about any consequences, which is a blessing and a curse. So I just threw it online. I was like, whatever happens, happens. And it was a good thing because someone saw it and was like, damn, that's good. And then I was popping off and a YouTuber for a couple of years, like 3 years, and um the trouble that comes with that, and you might know it too from like a streamer perspective. Once you start with something specific, in that case Mario 64, it's hard to switch to something else and still expect the same numbers.
Yeah.
But for me at that point, it was a job and it was something that I really wanted to make a living, and everything looked like that could be the case. So I could not really shift to like a normal musician. People now knew me for that battle rap kind of thing, and that's what it was. And every other song that I released or EPs that I made or like an album that I dropped under the same name, it just like did not get the yeah, the what's it called, like the
Traction.
attention
Yeah.
or like the yeah, you know, like just not the numbers that any of my battle rap things could get. But I didn't want that, so I just stopped releasing music like at all, because I was just like sitting there and writing and working on an album, and I'm very self-critical, I'm very perfectionistic too, so I did not release any. People thought I stopped making music. What actually happened though was like I was cooking, I was slowly cooking. It was like a what's it called when you like put a fucking piece of meat in onto a like fucking smoker for I was smoking for 6 years or so, 2 years. Then I got to, I a couple of years passed. It was 2016 now. um and I set up a Facebook post, and it's like, I'm halfway through my album, I'm working on it, it's like still happening, don't you give up on me yet. And an independent label saw it, hit me up and was like, hey, we want to like do that for you. Like, it sounds great. Like, I was head over heels with the idea of having a label, because it sounds official, it sounds crazy, you want to have that, everyone wants to have that. I was like, that's my fucking like, you know. But it ended up being a total catastrophe. Didn't see any money from the album. It was not great. I was completely being screwed over, and then I immediately lost motivation again, and I stopped doing it. And then it took like 2 years, 3 years to really sit down and be like, what do I want to do? What is it that I want to do? Because the album that I released under the independent label was not at all the music that I tried to make. Many songs that I made for that album and was really proud of, they changed beats, they changed the production, they changed everything that I loved about the songs that I wrote so far. And the other songs that I had to add later on felt like a very fast production kind of thing, and without like any without putting any heart into it. So I was fucking demotivated, and then I sat down and was like, okay, what do I want to do? It wasn't the music that I was gonna release initially. Um, so where do you want to be? Is it important to be like crazy, crazy, like famous and YouTube famous? Is it crazy? Like, is it important to you to get clicks, or is it important to you to be really heard? And I decided to be heard, and now I'm making music in a like, still in a, for a good amount of people, but definitely not as big as I did back then. But I released my album, this one again. This little album came out in October. It's German. It's German music, and it's pop and indie and a little bit of rap. It's a little bit of everything that I like. I have settled for one genre when I listened to music, so I couldn't when I started making music again. This is my merch.
Hell
A
yeah.
little easy. That's me. I'm
Easy.
easy with music. And yeah. Yeah, that's where I'm at now. Thanks for asking. Thanks for coming to my little podcast. Your podcast, mine, our podcast.
Make it look easy, right? That's what your handle
That's
is?
my
I think that's
handle,
your
yeah.
YouTube, isn't it?
Make it look easy.
Yeah.
Always think it's funny when people don't know about my music career, and then they come and see me streaming, and then they see the Mario strats and the crazy tricks and something that, like, even Wild Blue looks impressive to someone that never really like watched speedruns before. And then they come and say like, "Oh, you make it look so easy," and I'm like, "Hee hee 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 hee." If they only knew.
You said the thing.
Oh man.
Exactly. Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
crazy though. I didn't realize. I didn't know a lot of that actually. Like a lot of that
Yeah,
was
big
me
thing.
hearing it for the first
It's-
time.
Sorry.
Your YouTube, we have been saying fuck the whole time. I think it's okay. Your YouTube though is like huge. I didn't realize that until because I before the interviews I go and I like
Oh, you did your
get
research?
I get the links because I want to give
Yeah.
the shout outs and I want to include them in the description. But yeah, you have like 91,000 subscribers.
Yes.
Like what?
Yes.
Huge.
Maybe this video will push me to the 100K because I never got my silver button.
True. We got to get you your button. If you get one because of this and our 78 subscribers, we get one too.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah, that sounds only fair. I will make
Button by
copies.
association.
That was
I
part
like
of the agreement you made to come onto the show. Actually, it was in the fine print. I'm an attorney. Don't worry about it. Just trust me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We actually share custody of the silver button.
True.
So
Yeah,
we got. It's gonna be a logistical issue shipping it internationally constantly. But
No, it's gonna be fine.
We'll
we
figure
can
it out.
figure it out.
I once sent a letter to the US. It was $20 20 for a letter.
Why would
Okay,
anyone do
That's
that in
absurd.
2024?
That's not. Yeah, let's not talk about it. It's not great. Send a button. Send a button.
Yeah,
Once
no
a week.
problem.
Oh man.
I think it's really great that, you know, you even said like, oh, you know, like the numbers aren't what they used to be like back in the day, but I think it's great that you're not letting yourself get like clouded by numbers and you're sticking to like what you want to produce and like the stuff that you want to make, not necessarily what someone else wants to make or like what's marketable or whatever the fuck like music industry stuff is happening. Like you're kind of just you're doing your thing. You're producing what you want to produce,
It's.
and it shows.
I mean, maybe it's easier. Maybe it's easier when you have a management that is like, so you got to do it. But I'm my manager, so I'm just sitting here and I'm like, yeah, not gonna. That's not my vibe right now. Honestly, and it's like very, very healthy too because recently I felt really like I want to rap a little more again, and I did it for the women's tournament. I made a song that is
True.
actually my first song in English, and
It's a
it was
bop.
because I had like I felt like first of all it's way easier to rap in English than it is to like do my little genre kind of thing. But also I was just like feeling it. I was clicking through beats on the internet, and it's like some sort of freestyle free beat, and I was like, damn, that shit's fire. So I was like, let's just fucking do it. Yeah, so I did that, and but if I want to do that, that's what I wanted to say. When I would rap more, if I would come back and actually like rap also like a lot more in German, it would be all coming back like the same, probably like very close to what it was like back then. I just like don't want to. It's really, it's not my vibe. I feel like I want to add melodies here and there. I want to add harmonies, everything about little pop indie shit. That's my stuff. I like it. I like thinking about catchy melodies, and that is something that rap doesn't have to offer. Rap offers a lot of space to say a lot. But I don't want to say a lot. I want to say meaningful things. Catchy way. So yeah. Maybe, maybe not. It could be happening that I do a little more that rap thing again. But if I do, then it's because I want it and not because I need to for clout. That's not my style.
You gotta follow your heart. You gotta follow what you vibe with, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the way.
The full English rap song for the women's tourney was great because
Fire.
I remember you and I had a conversation and it was before Summer Pace, and you recorded a verse for a song in English.
Yeah.
I think you know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And at the time, like you sent it to me and I was like, wait, holy shit, this is like really good. Why don't you rap in English more? So I'm glad to see this is coming to fruition a little bit. That this arc
Yeah.
is like starting a little bit.
A little bit. I was so insecure about the accent, and we talked about this in the beginning. I don't have the strongest German accent there is, but I definitely have one. Like German people will come to me and be like, "Oh, you don't have a German accent at all." And the Americans will come to me and be like, "God damn, you have such a German accent, it's not even funny anymore." So, but it's adorbs. It's adorbs. It's cute. Keep it. I'm like, "Yeah, thank you. I can't just
Can't turn it off.
Keep it is such a good line. Keep it.
so
Like it's
I
a
sent it the-
hairstyle or something. Keep it.
yeah. Oh, it looks great on you. You should wear this more often. Thank you. It's in my voice.
Literally live with it every day. Cannot change it.
It just grew on me. But I remember I wanted a lot of feedback, and I wanted feedback from people where I knew that they are listening to rap music too. So I'll send it to Iradu, and just name dropping. It just doesn't even matter. I sent it to a friend that happens to be Iradu, and Iradu was like, I was not expecting that, but that was really fucking good. And I was like, oh my god, thank you. I'm so fucking scared because like the accent. And he was like, no, that is what makes it so good. And I was like, okay, all I needed to hear. If that is what does it for you, I can do that. I can give you some German accent. I do it. I just, I will keep it.
I'll keep it. We'll keep the accent.
Okay, if you like it, I'll add it to the song.
Hell yeah. And no, but the women's rap is like seriously fire. I'm gonna add it to the description below. I made a note so I don't forget. But it's straight fire. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. I worked
It kicks ass.
hard on it, and I was really proud when I got to finish it. I really like it
Should
as
be.
well.
Well, listen, Elee, this has been phenomenal. Before we let you go, I do want to be cognizant of your time. I don't want to take up too much more of your evening or I guess like early morning because it's
Morning.
what 4 a.m. there. Outrageous. I want to ask you one final question. We've asked this to all of our interviewees. We're the interviewers.
What?
Do you know what a Mount Rushmore is?
A mountain?
True, it is a mountain, but in the metaphorical context, it is your top 4 of something. What are your top 4, your Mount Rushmore of Super Mario runners?
Ouija, definitely, because just I love precise gameplay. I love analyzing kind of behavior, and I love when people are very perfectionist about things, and that is Ouija.
True.
It is Suigi.
So
it is
are you doing
Karina
both of
Nadal.
them? And Karina, true.
Karina on the Mount Rushmore.
Let's go!
Let's go.
And it's let me think.
Oh, I feel like there's an obvious 4th person.
Gio Grango.
No. No.
No, it actually is.
No, it's dinner. It's D whatever. What are you kidding me? It's D whatever.
The thing is, D whatever has most of the time either the streaming schedule where I'm streaming as well, so I can't really watch him, or he's like early, and since I'm a DJ, I don't see him a lot, so I can't really like.
He's right in the middle of your sleep.
Yeah.
At 10 a.m. or 4 p.m. or whatever it is.
I barely catch him live, unfortunately, and when I catch them, I can only like stop by for a little bit and then lurk, but the kind of lurking where you're actually doing something else and you just like keep them tapped.
Yeah.
You're one of my favorite runners too.
No.
It's just like I told you this multiple
This
times.
inaccurate.
Yeah, you're my top 1 streamer. I love watching you.
Well, I'm so glad that the check cleared and you got the money I sent you before the podcast to say that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no.
The paid advertisement worked.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
No, this is actually great. We'll have to have you back on at some point again. I need to hear more about the music career because I feel like we only got like a taste there. But for another time, we can't keep you up too much longer.
There's more where that came from.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, we'll have you back on again. Hopefully you'll be at pace. Hopefully you'll be on comms at pace. Everyone tune in.
Will be.
Perfect. I love to hear it. Well, thank you so much, Elee. This has been great.
Thank you. I had so much fun. Thanks, Ias. Thanks, Gio. You're great. Keep up the
Of
good
course.
work. Loving the format.
Thanks so much.
And yeah,
Thank you.
excited to see more.
Bye.
Bye.